Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard on the sixth session of AI Show. I'm very glad to be here. The last time, unfortunately, I was with COVID and couldn't present all the capabilities of OpenAI that Moshe just showed us. In a brief, there's a lot of business and a lot is going on about OpenAI and GPT and LLMs and all the other crazy words with 3 letters and 2 letters around the market. With me today, 4 amazing presenters that will show us the capabilities of cognitive services and digital twins and everything concerning vision. I think those amazing worlds of the AI in the vision world and GPT and where it goes, and the cognitive services that provide us with AI as a service. It's amazing stuff that is going on everywhere. We have a lot of business in that, and we also want to know how we can integrate it with the companies, with the business, with the ROI of the companies. And the presenters that we have today will just give you the way, show you the path, show the technology. And I'm very glad to be here to show and to be part of it and to hear them speak. And for that, we have today Victor, Sebastian, we have Carlotta and Adil. They will show us their session, and we'll start with Victor, that will show us a little bit on the cognitive world and the application building of AI. Victor, the
Hi
show is
there, how are
yours.
you? Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Okay, so before I continue with the amazing world of the cognitive service, I would like to just introduce quickly myself. Victor Rodriguez over here. I'm the digital specialist for data and AI at Microsoft. Feel free to connect me in my social network as well, through the LinkedIn, to the Twitter. I'm always posting interesting things about projects or new technologies that's going on. Okay, so what we have for today, okay? I want you everything to gather around about this because we're really about to dive, right? Not too deep because for the sake of the time as today, in the exciting world of the build intelligent applications, okay? So with Azure Cognitive Service. So as everyone know, in the today heavily evolving tech landscape, business are hungry, right? For ways to infuse their apps with AI capabilities. And that's where Azure Cognitive Services come in. Okay, so Azure Cognitive Service, brought to you by Microsoft Azure, is a game-changing suite cloud-based APIs and services that make it a breeze for developers to integrate AI into their apps, right? So no need to be an AI expert or spend countless hours building complex AI infrastructure from scratch, right? It's really a mind-blowing session that we're gonna look today. Okay, so let's get ready, right? We're gonna be able to unleash this limitless possibilities of building these intelligent applications, of course, using Azure Cognitive Service. Let's do this. So, folks, what we're gonna witness today is magic, right? That happens when applications development collide head on with AI services, machine learning, and of course, advanced analytics capabilities. The results of all over that, right, is intelligent applications that will blow your mind, right? These apps take advantage of incredible power AI to deliver the next level functionalities. As well, functionality in terms of decision making, user experience that will leave you really aware about what you can do. So, how about the other things that you can do? First, let's picture this, okay? Mobile insurance applications that incorporate advanced AI models, right? So when users send pictures of accidents or kind of incidents, these apps can instantly analyze the damage and provide quick, accurate estimates for claims. Talk about efficiency and of course convenience to your apps, right? What about those voice assistants that we now know and love, like Siri, the Cortana, for example? The all AI powered buddies are the forefront of voice-enabled applications, and they utilize natural language, right, processing and machine learning to understand your commands and provide you with your information, okay? And you need to carry out your tasks in your behalf. It's like having your own intelligent companion right at your fingerprints, right? But of course, you're not done yet, right? we talk about the powered recommendation systems, right? And not forget about chatbots and virtual agents, okay? These virtual agents, these intelligent beings can understand your natural language queries and provide automated response or assistance, right? Need help with the customer service queries? Virtual agents got your covered, right? Looking for product information? Is the case, right? They engage with you in a conversation just like a real person in a real world. So, as I said, the possibilities are endless. Intelligent applications are doing the revolution of the industry, right? Boosting productivity, delivering this mind-blowing user experience, and so on. Okay. So let's take a look about our AI portfolio then that helps support all those intelligent applications. Okay. So Azure AI. Okay. Total game changer, my friends. It's about bringing the magic of AI right in your fingerprints. You can seamlessly integrate with the incredible capabilities of Azure. And we talk about here data, app development, compute service, and tools that will really do a game changer in your development part. But hold on, let's get a little bit even better, right? Azure Cognitive Service powered by this Azure Machine Learning are the old new level. We talk about here 30, right? 30 domain specific pre-trained models, okay? Covering vision, covering speech, language, and of course, decision making. And let me tell you, right? The research behind these models is really the breakthrough, okay? We are breaking the boundaries, my friends. But wait, there's even more, right? We're not just having the most models. We are also about to give you the freedom, right? To deploy then those models, those 30 domain-specific pre-built models, wherever you want. Whatever can be your on-premise environment, can be at the edge, right? Or even in other cloud providers. We got your covered with the magic of the containers. Okay, it's all about for us at Microsoft about the flexibility in letting you get the power of AI whatever and however you need exactly. Right. So let's go a little bit ahead and talk about the incredible capabilities of Azure AI. We got scenario specific services that tackle specific AI needs, right? I mentioned before, we have chatbots and virtual agents with the bot service. We talk about a powerful search experience with the cognitive search, where you can extract information as well using form recognizer, analyzing videos with the video indexer, and of course, monitoring metrics with the metrics advisor. It's all about empower you to create an amazing AI experience and infuse this in your current application. Okay. Also, with Azure Machine Learning, we have a scalable and collaborative environment for building, for training, and deploy your machine learning models in a complete package, my friends, right? And let's not forget here the top, the AI builder, is that to bring it all together, everything that talk about developers, data scientists, and connect everything that's worth of capabilities with seats and developers through the AI builder to infuse the Power BI in Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agents. Okay, now let's explore a little bit about the capabilities of the Azure Cognitive Service across different domains, right? As I mentioned before, we have 30 specific predictive models, but we split this in 4 domains. So in these 4 domains, let's start with the realm of vision, where we got image understanding and analysis, text extraction, image captioning, form recognition, video indexing, facial recognition, spatial analysis. It's like having superpowers for understand visual content. And when you talk about speech, we got the speaker recognition, where we have as well speech to text transcription, text to speech synthesis, custom neural voices, and real-time speech translations, break it down language barriers. That's what we do. And of course, in the language domain, we got the entity extraction, sentiment analysis, intent understanding, document translation, right? It's all about understanding, it's all about organizing and delivering what the users want to, okay? And of course, last but not least, we talk about decision making, where we got anomaly detection, metric monitoring, and personalization, where we can get the valuable insights track your business metrics, and create this customized user experience, right? It's really bringing services like Azure Cognitive Service is a revolution how we interact with AI. And really plug and play on top of our applications, your line of a business application, or even legacy applications that require some kind of modernization, new functionalities. Okay, let's unleash this full potential and create something really truly amazing using cognitive service. And another important point for me is the special thing about Azure Cognitive Service. With Azure Cognitive Service, I will take a simple API call to unlock a world of AI capabilities for your apps. Seriously, it's really that easy, right? So you can seamlessly embed the power of see, hear, speak, search, understand, and really supercharge the decision make right into your applications, right? But here's the best part, okay? So bear with me. Azure Cognitive Service is designed to empower developers of all skills level, right? Whether you are a seasoned pro or you are just starting out, you can easily add these mind-blowing AI capabilities to your apps. No need for a machine learning guru or spend, let's say, endless hours studying complex models and algorithms. For example, we have made simple and accessible for everyone. So let me take now a closer look on some demos using Azure Cognitive Services Studio to show how you can test, how you can try, and how you can develop. Before I move on, let me just check here. We're not taking for now questions. Okay, that's fine. We can proceed. So as I said, let's unlock now the vision that we can do using Azure Cognitive Service. Okay, so we start first with the field of vision. Okay, let me just jump this one. Yeah, here we go. So we're gonna show you in the field of vision a few demos and how we can use the Vision Studio. Okay, and proceed looking for the speech, language, and form recognizer by the end. Switching here. Okay, so now that we're back here, this is the Vision Studio. That's what we are giving to our developers that are starting to use the Azure Cognitive Service, all the power so they can try, they can test, experiment, and really give this first moment a kind of MVP to show the business how the cognitive services work, right? And this studio give also the possibility so you can explore the SDK, the REST APIs, and get to check some documentation, okay? So let me highlight a couple of functionalities that what you can do, okay? So let me just, I need to present the screen. 1 second. Yeah, here we go, share. There we go. Awesome. So let's start with the OCR, optical character recognition. Okay, with the read OCR, it's possible to extract text for images. It is as it is. You can just click here and you can try by yourself. Okay, by simply drag and drop a file or image, or you can simply take a photo or get some of the examples. Okay, so just by clicking here, you have the image, and straight away, we're gonna give a call to the REST API that have the cognitive service of the read API, okay? What we're gonna detect here is really read the characters that you find in top of the image, right? That's really simple. And for no surprise, Microsoft love developers, right? And what we're delivering an outcome every time you call the API is a JSON format output, okay? That's really easy to consume, is easily insertable inside of their line of business application or in a process automation or in a robot process automation, a workflow like in SharePoint, for example, is easy to consume, okay? This is the outcome of this. And you can easily here, come here. So another things that you're gonna check in the studio is every one of the examples or APIs that we have access to the documentation, the SDK reference, right? That's one of the great ones that you can see a different language and consume the way that you can consume the service, right? From C#, Python, C++, and many other languages as well. So take a look in the Vision Studio. We're gonna look as well for spatial analysis, okay? This serves, it's great, bear with me. Where you want, take the next step with the collection of video cameras that you have in your business, right? where, for example, you can count the people in an area, a specific area. So let's say that you have your CCTV camera streaming all the time, all this data about a certain environment, right? And you want to count the number of people that's inside this side of this environment. By running the spatial analysis, you can mark a specific zone, right, of your camera, and the model itself will start to make things for you. In one of the examples here is the count of the persons in the specific area that you just make it here. Okay, so this is possible through this spatial analysis. Another great service as well inside of the spatial analysis, most recently we call the video summarization and frame locator, right? The applications, there are really many here. Think about here, you can summarize the entire video, right? To understand what's going on. For example, you get here the summarization to see in the grocery store video where the several events that occurred include someone dropped something on the floor, a woman was shown failing on the ground, and things like this, right? Give you the next step to not just have the videos, but the next step to be able to analyze those videos as well. How great is that, right? So back to the Visual Studio, we're gonna view the face, right? Where we can infuse, for example, the face detection, right? Face detection image. For example, operations like know your customer, right? So let's say that you have a business and you want to do a double authentication, right? A double factor authentication by using the face authentication, right? Where you need to validate an ID against a database of pictures of your customers, for example, of your clients, right? And what we can do as well, right? Using the face detection, the magic of the REST API of the cognitive service is detect the image and validate this against a database as well. Okay, easy as it is, you give the picture to the face API are gonna give you back what they detect over there. The last but not least, we have the image analysis. This one is where we are moving really, really great, right? Where you can do multiple things. I'm talking about here, remove background images, right? I will talk about here, add caption to images. For example, you work in a marketing department, you have this burden that every time you need to get an image before upload, caption it is for accessibility, for example, right? So instead of have this burden, you can use an API like this one to add the caption to the image, select the image, and these are going to be captioned in the image straight away, right? You're going to detect the attributes of the image and provide you the description, right? How great is that? Another important fact as well is that we add recently something that we call add dense caption to image, right? It's still a product in preview, but something that is really great. For example, I really want to in depth and know what's going on this image, on a certain image, right? In this specific image, for example, I detect a certain attributes and I can highlight everything that I found. For example, a person using a laptop, a woman wearing a colorful fabric face mask, right? So this really give a comprehensive idea how you can get an API, transform, connect on top of your applications, and of course, move on, create an intelligent applications, right? The applications are many over here. So without further ado, let me move here for the field of speech, right? That's important. Just a second. Yes, here. And then let's start with this, okay? So the field of image, let's jump here to another tab, okay? The field of the speech studio, right? Where the speech studio gonna provide all the functionalities for, again, like the Vision Studio and all our studios that Microsoft provides for our amazing developers, amazing business, is about give you an idea in how you can start, how you can try it out and experiment this, right? So talk about here real-time speech to text, right? So let me try a quick one. Hello, everyone from the AI show. It's amazing to have everyone here to hear about Azure Cognitive Service. Awesome, right? So this is one of the examples like of how we can use speech to text, right? It's one of the many models for the specific field of speech, right? If you go for more specific scenario based, right, where you can use, for example, pulse call transcription and analytics, right? Where, for example, you can submit a batch of recording between your contact center, for example, and extract all the information there. Who is the speaker, what they can talk about, and of course, using the power of all the cognitive services all together to extract, for example, things like sentiment with sentiment analysis, as well extracting, for example, information that contains personal identifiable information, right? So for example, here, we are just evaluating a call. and we can get, for example, the names and highlight and remove all this, right? The developer resource part is something that is great as well, right? Where we can use here, there's a simple code, is easy to consume, right? We can sample code using REST API, where we have the JSON output as well, an ingestion client tool that you can easily get from GitHub as well, or even a Power Automate template. So how like this, you can kickstart it, okay? In the speech studio, not contain just only speech to text, but text to speech, right? Where we have an amazing voice gallery, is a big voice catalog, right? Where we can specifically bring a kind of voice for your business, right? In a specific language, is a male or a female, you can bring over here and define styles of this, of the voice, right? Which is great. Bring this like a customizable way to interact with your customer, your clients, with a speech to text, like in a voice assistant or in a bot, for example. Okay, so that's one of the main examples here. And as well, you can see here that you can choose a template and explore a little bit further with the Speech Studio. Sounds good. So now we can jump a little bit for the language. Okay, on the field of language, 1 second. Yeah. So on the field of language here, right? The field of language is where you can do different things, right? First, where we can explore natural language understand, right? To extract really the information about a specific topic. For example, let's say that I have a document, right? It's a legal document and I need to extract the personal identifiable information from this legal document, right? For example, I have this legal NDA that's here and I want to extract the information from there, right? So if I make a call to the REST API through this app over here, and I get information back, right? For example, I'm extracting here date and type, person type, organization, what's the name of the person, address, email, and so on, right? Which is great, right? Because at some moment, sometimes I want to analyze center part of the text, right? And really extract information and provide back to my business without to go through this manual labor of getting everything, right? Okay, I'm seeing here a questions. Okay, better adds is what would be the cost for SME to use the Vision API to check how many customers did have in the store? Yeah, so one of the things, quick one to answer this, okay, is that it's totally possible, right? And the pricing I can share later on with you here. What's the cost look like? Okay, so the cost base for the Vision, in specific the Vision API for the spatial analysis, is based their own terms, okay? And I can send you the link to so you can take a look by yourself, check what's the best way, how the price is calculated, and so on. So moving next here, another important things that we can do as well is text classification, okay? Where I can do sentiment analysis and mining opinions, okay? So let me get an example here, right? Let's get this product review that you're seeing over here. I bought at size S and it fit perfectly. I found the zipper a little bit difficult and so on. Someone just give the review about a product, right? So if I run again the model, things that I can do is first, I can get the overall sentiment, right? But sometimes if you're working with a marketing department or if the customer service itself, you don't want the overall sentiment about something, right? A product review. You want the specifics about it, right? And what the sentiment analysis on the language studio can help you is to understand the opinion mining, right? So when someone's talk about difficult over here, what is talking about specific, right? In this case, the difficult here message is connect to zipper, okay? And this one, the beautiful, the assessment here, the target is material, okay? And as well, target here is the color, right? So how great you provide quickly to your business to say, hey, the reviews that I'm getting from Twitter, the reviews that I'm getting on our website is not just about is a good, is a positive, is a neutral, or is a negative, but we can find the specifics about the opinion of about persons about what your business are looking for. Okay. Okay, so quick questions for the Robert here, Novak. Is there a way to fine tune these models? Some of those, yes, okay. Some of those contains a possibility that you can customize or bring your own data, right? For example, we have here the screen, the custom text classification, right? So let's say that your organization have their own vocabulary, right? Their own terms, their own things, right? When you talk about business, right? You want to bring some of this data to, so you can train and you can customize those models in a way they can understand this new vocabulary, these new terms, right? If you allow for example, it'd be great if you bring this information over here so they can understand and do the text classification in a proper way. In the field of the vision as well, you can do the custom model. In the field of the speech studio, you can train your own voice as well, right? So let me go scroll down here. I can create auto content creation, but I can use custom keywords as well, okay? And I can test the custom speech, right? One of the things about the speech as well, that you can bring your own wording for this, right? So you can have a kind of a custom model. Okay, so, and last but not least, we are moving to form recognizer, okay? So in the field of the form recognizer, we have as well the form recognizer studio, right? So form recognizer is the great tool, and for me is one of the great game changers for any company that's implementing robot process automation. They want to really improve the internal process in a way they can extract information, right? The information for example, for documents, from invoices, from recipes, for example, business cards, IDs, and so on. Okay. Uh, Getting a quick question over here, right? Do you have any examples for license plates? No, I don't have it, but yes, you can customize for license plate as well. You can go with the read OCR for the license plates, okay? You can either try the custom model, that's my the default model, and that's my recommendation initially. But later on, my recommendation as well, if it's not attending your type of license plates, you can customize the vision model to understand the license plates and get the numbers from there. Uh, Another question here, Soko as well is saying, what languages are supported on speech to text? Okay, let me just jump here, speech to text, and we can open the documentation. And we have many language support, okay? So the supported language that we have as for now is here on this page, okay? I can share here later on, okay? So basically we support many languages. That is today that we have a breakthrough that support Arabic language, German, Greek, English, French, Italian, Portuguese from Brazil that I'm from, Philippines, and so on. The languages that support for speech to text are many, okay? So it's really, really a big list if you're seeing over here. Awesome. I hope that I answered your question. Okay, back to the form recognizer. Okay, game changer, robot process automation, anything that you want to remove manual labor and avoid any error when you are getting a PDF document or a physical document or a scanned document, and you need to insert this data inside of your line of business application database and so on, right? So form recognizer can act in multiple ways, right? To talk about here, extract the printed or handwritten, right? Information, right? For example, let's say with this document, you need to extract a couple information over here. I just run the analysis in a PNG document or a PDF document, and we're gonna be able to get information from this document, okay? So it's something that really accelerates this internal process that maybe you have internally in your organization, right? And you want to bring the next level to information extraction, okay? I hope this demo work. The demo gods allow me, and I can take an answer back here. So in the meantime, let me open here if I can get a different tab so I can, sorry. So let me run the analysis again and check if I can get information. Another important feature that we're gonna notice is here, the studio really bring us close to the developers, right? So one of the things that you can see here, the code, right? We provide sample codes, right? That's really, you can easily download over here, okay? Or you can easily copy and paste and use this entire side of Visual Studio Code, for example, right? That's really give you the first step to accelerate this first moment and get the things done, right? As soon as possible, right? Okay, Steve is saying, what's the difference between cognitive service and OpenAI service? Okay, so they are kind of different services, but in some way they are in some functionalities that collide, okay? But they are complementing each other, right? That's it, Microsoft strategy, right? That's what Microsoft is looking for. We, when I talk about cognitive service, we talk about domain specific models, right? For do specific things, okay? Where in OpenAI, we have large language model that can do multiple things, okay? In the cognitive service, let's say, hey, I want to go to straight to the point, okay? I want to extract the speech from text, right? Or do text to speech, okay? Or I want to recognize a document and extract information from there, like in the form recognizing. Azure Cognitive Service is what give you that advantage of this. Yeah, it's not really helped me in the form recognizer today. Let me try a different model, layout model. All the others work, so why this one's not working? I'm using the right one. Let me see the resource. Yeah, that's supposed to be working. Let me just switch resource and we can take a look together. Here we go. Yeah, because I want to show the results and a couple things that we can find as well. Yeah, here we go. So that's the extraction, right? So once you get the document, we're going to be able to extract all the information. And you can see here that if you are a developer, right, you're going to see the results in a JSON format, as I said before, and you can find the specific region, right? Where is this document? Where is the information about it, right? Another example that we added recently is the possibility that you can get the barcodes, okay? And as well, QR code, okay? Is one of the things that you can do and get information from here. And the most important that we can get key value pairs, tables, and so on. So let me highlight one here using the invoice, for example, right? I have this invoice in English, right? Where I want to extract information from here, okay? So you can see here that sometimes if you use it just uh, optical character recognition, it's impossible almost to get information that's inside of a table. When you get it, it's totally disconnected in some way as a result, right? If you run the analysis on this document, call the REST API, form recognizer, read this invoice for me, and get the information all over there, you're gonna see that we can get the table, right? Which is great, right? Because sometimes you want to just get a table from there. I don't want everything that's inside of the document. I want just a specific table that contains specific information. Okay, so that's the overview about all the studios that you were offering yesterday. Vision Studio, Speech Studio, the Language Studio, and the Form Recognizer Studio that really give you that advantage and the first step to build intelligent applications, right? Using Azure Cognitive Service. Easy to use, call REST API, your legacy applications, modernization to your applications through the Azure Cognitive Service. So I will just come back quickly to my presentation so we can finalize this. 1 second. And here we go. There we go. Yes. So we are back here, and then we can finalize this. Okay. Form recognize was the last one. And as I said before, in summary, Cognitive Service offers really a comprehensive suite of cloud-based APIs, right? Services that enable developers to integrate powerful AI capabilities into their applications. That's so easy. We'll talk about pre-built AI models, APIs, computer vision, speech recognition, and so on. Simplified development, right? Developers can leverage cognitive service to quickly add intelligent features to their applications, just a few lines of codes, and that's it. We talk about scalable and reliable, right? So these cognitives have run on the robust Microsoft Azure cloud platform, provide you scalability, high availability, and global reach, right? Industry-specific solutions that I mentioned before, integration with the Azure ecosystem. As I said, Microsoft is building all integrated. So if you want to use logic apps, if you want to use functions, if you want to use the Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents, it's all integrating this amazing ecosystem from Microsoft, so you can use all this cognitive service. Okay, so that's everything for me today, and thank you so much. And I hope that you can start to enjoy Azure Cognitive Service. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. I truly believe that AI as a service is amazing stuff. I use it already for 5 years, I guess, with big customers, enterprises everywhere. And the idea is that you need to have a look at it and the perspective of Lego bricks. So
Yes.
instead of getting a team and a project with a lot of stuff and people and a lot of stuff, you can try it and get like straightforward with it. It's an AI in a box. You just connect it,
Yes.
try it, use it. And the biggest advantage on that is that if you have a project that starts small, you can
Hmm.
scale with it easily because it's as a SaaS service. It scales with your product, with your application, and you don't need to think, okay, I need to buy more Kubernetes and more nodes and more stuff. You just need to run it. That's it. And vice versa. If you see that you have a lot of those AI bricks solution, and you see that one of them is not making sense in the flow of the business, you just get it out. That's it. You don't
Yes.
need to deprecate any infrastructure to fire people. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
correct there. I
that's
think you put it right on spot. Lego, you have a Lego in your hands, is easily to consume, is not that expensive. You have free tiers that you can go and try straight away. So feel free, connect and try. It's amazing.
yeah. Also about the pricing, someone asked about the pricing.
Yeah,
Most of the cognitive services comes with a free tier for a particular like period of time or number of methods that you used as an API that you can also test and use. So it's amazing. I really love it and use it, and a lot of the company customers using it as a front end solution.
that's true.
And
Yeah, thank you so
okay,
much. Yeah,
yeah.
thank
Thank
you.
you,
It was a
Victor.
great to talk with you guys. Sebastiano, good
Thank
luck.
you very
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.
much.
Bye.
Yeah, a very good session on cognitive services. And now we'll go to Sebastiano. He is an AI MVP, as I am. He is the CTO of Synapsia. So he will introduce us for a digital twin with GPT. Sounds like an episode of Black Mirror. So if you know
That
that.
was the idea.
Yeah, so I love it, and I really love when technology goes straight forward to stuff that is from the movies and get us a little bit of new technology in front of us. So, Sebastiano, show us yours.
So, how to change the slide? So,
Sebastiano, do you want to share it from your screen or?
yes, yes,
Okay, go
because
ahead.
maybe I have a demo if there is time.
Yes, yes. Share your screen and I can upload it.
Just a second.
No worries.
So, here we are. Okay, of course, thanks for hosting my session. That will be a little bit more technical than the previous one. I hope that I will be so good to don't make it too boring. So, what it is the idea, I will tell you. But first, again, here are my contacts. I will be happy to help with any questions or tips. If you want, please write to me and I will be happy to support you if needed. Well, what's the goal of the session? Of course, is not to explain to you what chatbots are, because I neither what it is OpenAI or Chat GPT. But the goal of this session is why sometimes, and I outline sometimes in some scenario, it depends on your business, could worth to develop your own solution. And I'm happy to tell you my journey, starting from an open source service, building it with some cognitive services or hacking some AI models, putting everything together, and telling you also my mistakes, because in my opinion, you can learn a lot also from your mistakes. And so to show you what I did, with the hope that could help you, but also what to avoid to do. And a little bit spoiler, to create your own solutions doesn't mean that it's cheap or that it's free of cost. Again, and must be clear, depends on your business. So let's see another way to use OpenAI or community services from my experience point of view. So everybody knows what it is Microsoft Lewis. This is not a session on Microsoft Lewis, but what we need to understand better the project is how it works. So basically, it's a classifier because, as you know, you load tons, thousands of sentences, and you create your own categories. And as you know, as you can see in the example, when you, after the training, when you provide a new sentence, a score is provided that it means that that intent is the best based on what I learned. So that it worked before OpenAI, but I will show that sometimes it works still to keep to stick with Microsoft Lewis. Anyway, what you had to do is also to create your own conversational flow, because that's the way how it worked. With some pro and some cons. What are the pro of a product like Microsoft Lewis? The first, that it's easy to use. And in my opinion, of course, it provides still very good performances in a lot of scenarios. But one of the most important features for the goal of this session is to keep one eye on the fact that you have the full control of the conversation. Doesn't mean that you are free of biases or stuff like that, but at least you have almost the full control of the conversation. The cons is that you can manage a restricted domain compared to solutions like OpenAI. That's a fact. You can manage easily large domains because of the math that there is behind. The bigger is the model, the bigger is the domain with that solution, the most difficult it is to manage very, very well this size of a project. On the other side, there's no need of presentation on what OpenAI is it. So what do we have to understand? The main difference, how it works compared to Microsoft Lewis, is that it works like predicting the best next word in the sentence. So it's a totally different approach. The one is a classifier. The other one, as you know, everybody knows, is generative. Uses a generative approach. And this is very, very important. Why? First of all, the main pro, of course, everybody knows that it provides unprecedented conversation capabilities. But, sorry, and now I want to focus much more on cons, because the goal of the session is also the idea to provide different ways to use, to combine services with OpenAI. But first, we have to understand the differences and the cons. Well, the large language models, of course, as you know, is trained from content coming from web, so is full of biases. This is also a well-known problem. But what is the main issues about that? Well, if you are a developer, maybe you are playing, maybe your project is small, or I don't know why, it's not a big issue. But what if you are the CTO of a company and your customer is, for example, a bank, a big international insurance, and you can't risk at all that sometimes your large model could reply in a way that you don't want, or doesn't match the policies of your customer. You can't risk. And it's a risk that despite the advancement of the quality of the models could happen. That's a fact. Another fact why I could think to create my own solution, for example, cost, because again, sometimes in some scenario, of course, it's worth for sure me the first that says, guys, use OpenAI. Do not reinvent the wheel. But sometimes, depends on your business, you have to put one eye also on the cost, because you are the CTO, you are the responsible of the technology, and you can think with endless, assuming endless resources. And it's a fact that this kind of solutions cost 10 times more than a product like Microsoft Lewis. Do not talk if we want to rent a V100 in the cloud that costs much more than $2,000 per month. Is another aspect that we have to consider. Well, again, that's the status of the OpenAI service in one common month. Of course, Microsoft Azure is far away better. So far, comparing the services, I had no issues using the services provided by Microsoft, but I had a lot of issues using the straight OpenAI. And that's another fact that today I have to consider as a CTO, because I want a stable solution. And last but not least, issues about the privacy. Maybe you heard about problems coming from employee that uses confidential documents with this kind of large language model, and someone else was able to retrieve critical information in a way that is described in the slide. So this is what I mean when I talk about privacy. Of course, there are a lot of protections. For example, Microsoft allows you to use OpenAI in your network, so it is far away better than the service provided straight from OpenAI. But anyway, this is something that could happen. Well, OpenAI addressing the cons. Well, of course, the first, in my opinion, being a CTO, managing important and critical projects for customers, biases is a pain for me, but I guess also for other people. And sometimes the only way to manage biases is to create your own data set and to feed these models with your own data set. But there are also other limitations and costs that could be a reason why you could decide, okay, it's worth sometimes that if I build my own model, and of course I run it on Azure, but it's a different approach. Well, and we used a paradigm that is divide et impera. Okay, so combining several AI. So straight now to the use case, and first, I want to say that we don't want to create another Alexa, but the idea is to create, for example, your digital copy to manage your emails, your calendar, also phone calls, because we did some tests with phone calls and it worked and most well. Also web, local search, and so on. And the main idea is that you can interact with your own digital copy asking, for example, stuff inside my calendar, but also people from outside could ask to your digital copy if tomorrow I'm busy or not, of course, not providing critical information about me. This is the idea behind the product. Well, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. This is the reason why I started from an open source project coming from GitHub. I used models also coming from Hugging Face, but of course, I used tons of services coming from Microsoft, provided from Microsoft, like cognitive services, Azure machine learning. I rent virtual machines, and really a lot. Thanks to Microsoft to support and hosting this project. Hey, here there is the link where I started. So it's a project that you can download from GitHub in this case. And please keep one eye on the date of this project. It's 4 years ago. So why 4 years ago? Because one of my goals today is also to show you that sometimes, again, sometimes this is a session that want to provide a different point of view. Sometimes you don't need really the last technology provided, but could be much more useful, much more productive if you combine in a smart way existing technologies and maybe leading for better results. So in this case, I used a project that uses GPT-2. You are free at the end to use GPT-4, to use ChatGPT, replacing it. It's up to you. Well, how it works. So the idea is to provide a context of 5 sentences that talks about you as a context again, and then to provide also the dialogue of the conversation and what we call the personalities. Those 5 sentences are used as a source of inspiration for the reply. And it works. It's amazing. And this is the structure of the dataset. It is named persona chat. Well, we said that it works, but I guess that you agree with me that 5 sentences maybe are not enough to describe you, to describe people. So, but there is also a strong limitation of the amount of information that you can manage in one time using this kind of large models. So we can't exceed more than 6 or 7 sentences. It depends also on the length of the dialogue. Well, so what we can do to improve the performances and to increase the amount of the sentences that I can load. Well, the idea is to use a first layer AI. In the first stage, I used Microsoft Lewis, creating several categories like career, food, hobby, family, traveling, and to each intent in this case, I matched 5 or 6 sentences about career, about food, about hobby, and so on. So this is the flow. When I get a question from my users, the first stage is passed to Microsoft Lewis that categorize that sentence, extract the 5 sentences to be inspired, and then to GPT-2 or the GPT you want to reply inspired to that content. Well, here are some screenshots. In this case, we have, for example, my own data. my own personal data. As you can see, there are some sentences that describes me, what I did in the past, what I like to eat, my hobbies, and so on. On the other side, we have the screenshot of Microsoft Lewis with all intents. Before going forward, I want to talk about a very, very important parameter if you want to use that project for fine-tuning, that is personality permutation. You can keep all parameters in the default, but I suggest to change this parameter from 1 to 2. It depends on your service or what kind of GPU you bought in the cloud, and but if you can increase this value, because what happened is that he rotates the sentences of your personalities, and this increases the capability of learning from sentences and then to use new characters without training. So this is a suggestion based on my experience. Well, Microsoft Lewis is great, but is not able to manage dialogues like that, in which, for example, you don't have in the last sentence a full information to be classified, because in this case, do you have a dog? In our context, do you have a dog is classified family. And the answer could be yes, his name, Alfred. How Microsoft Lewis, that is able to classify just sentences, could classify Alfred? So there's no way. So if you want to improve much more the project and to move forward, what we can do? In this case, using GPT-2, you can use the GPT you want, but I suggest this solution for reasons that I will show you after. What I did is to use the same model, but changing the dataset. And I used the candidates that are basically the reply to my dialogue with the intents that I want. But also, I used that approach as a language detector, because I used also the language detection system that I have to say the Microsoft service has better performances sometimes, but in this context, it works very well. Your custom solution. So what I did is to replace the answer, with my intent. And I can cancel the personalities in this case. This product is named Duke. So what it does is able to classify dialogues. So instead of against Microsoft Lewis, that is able to classify sentences. Well, using that approach, we were able to improve, of course, our feature. And very, very quickly, I want to show you how it works here. To speed up and to save time, I already did very few questions just to show you how it works. This is my virtual profile from our panel. And in this case, for example, hi, how are you is classified personal data for some reasons. And the answer of GPT, that in this case, I guess, I don't remember if it is GPT-2 or OpenAI straight or from Microsoft, I don't remember. Anyway, it replies using those sentences from personal data, and as you can see, it matches. Then, if I ask, for example, do you like sushi? this is my answer. And do you like sushi? Of course, he classified food. Where is food? Here. And the answer is yes, I like sushi, because it's true. Yes, it's here. But also enjoy my mother meatballs with gravy and stuff like that. So this is the idea. And what is amazing is that you can create a new character without training if you do a very good job. Well, now, as the best software is useless if it's not sold and if it doesn't match the need of the marketing of the salesman, what I thought is which kind of feature we can introduce to better match this need. And what I created is what I called active conditioning. How it works? This is how data are inside the model, where how are really organized inside the model. So what I did is hacking the code and how the deep learning model works managing data, and in this way. So I created new tags named, in this case, act. You can use the name you want. And I asked to my team, please, when you create a new entry in the dataset, where is needed sometimes, add this kind of tag. In this case, for example, as you can see, based on the conversation, ask about studies, because as you can see here below, I'm going to reply to my previous question, but then I start with a new question, with a new topic. Well, how it works in the real life, a solution like that. So, hacking the model. On the left, you can see a normal conversation where I ask to this virtual character what she likes, and after, in the middle, I did the same test, but at the end I forced dynamically ask about studies. As you can see, it is able to reply to this question, but also to introduce a new one, a new topic. Well, I was not able to find a prompt to do that with OpenAI. For sure it exists. For sure it's my fault. Anyway, I deal with AI since 25 years. If exists, and again, for sure it's my fault. Anyway, it's not easy to do that. And at least I was not able to do it with OpenAI. Well, again, when I did that, I thought to another tool. But what we can do also with this technology and with this approach, because it could be useful if in real time I'm able to profile with semantic titles the speaker and my conversation for customer reasons, for selling, who knows what, but that could be useful. And the idea, it was to create a graph about you. So while you chat with this virtual twin, I am able to create a dynamic graph about you. And so I hacked again the model, but also the data set. So create with the same approach that I showed you before. And I trained my model in order to answer to triples like that. On the right, you can see a screenshot of our panel, how to create triples of the dialogue. And please keep one eye on the fact that it is not that easy, because what we want is not to profile all the conversation, but just the user. And again, I tried to do that with OpenAI, but OpenAI is sometimes much more powerful than me, for sure, but it profiles all the conversation. It's very, very hard to tell, okay, just the user. I tried to do that. I found a prompt, but also, and again, looking with the eyes of a CTO that must keep under control the cost, it was a prompt so complex that including instructions and including the data, each call costed 1,000 tokens. So it is very, very expensive sometimes in some scenarios. Well, again, if you want to do that by yourself, a suggestion that I want to give to you is that I use the personalities in this way. So basically, I replied the sentences of the user in order to make much better for the AI model to understand the content that is much more important to me. Of course, I did a lot of mistakes and a lot of attempts before finding this a solution, so I will be happy to share with you. Well, okay, this is something that is exactly what I did, but in the real life, how we use the active conditioning and the active profile in this way. For example, let you imagine that you are chatting with my own digital twin, but also you want to sell something. If we use an old approach, of course, we know we had to create the dialogue flow, the old style, of course. And then I'm going to finish, I guess. Yes. And then sometimes maybe it's not at the moment to sell something. Well, using also cognitive services, sentiment analysis, and the profile, what I can do is that maybe the marketing says, if he is married, if he has a dog, and if he is a male, once you catch this free information and everything is a green light and the mood is okay and also other parameters, well, you can start changing the conversation to this topic, again, the active conditioning, and then you can provide an advertising or to change the topic in a dynamical way for your own reasons. Well, we finished. So it was an overview on my project, on how I used and combined the different kind of technologies, also creating stuff for myself. The goal is not, do not use OpenAI, but basically depends on your business, and sometimes you need reinvent the wheel, sometimes not.
Amazing, amazing. To say the truth, I worked with Louis from the first day it was introduced as a product. I really believe it's still um, a very good solution. Very good solution. Like it's not a language understanding model, but it can help to make this moderation of the text, maybe some kind of dispatching of the text for all the chatbots and solution like that.
Yeah,
In principle, usage of those solutions, because Louis is part of those cognitive solutions, and OpenAI is also part of a cognitive solution, as we talked about in the last session. Because they are made to be a little bit more generic and not model specific, we introduced it like the Pareto model, so the Pareto principle, so the 80-20, 70-30. So the model itself will help you to gain the answer for 80% of your requests. As you said, there are use cases when the model cannot handle, and then we can introduce the more heavy lifted models like GPT-4, GPT 3.5, and going down, or maybe the open source that is available outside. But the idea is that you better go with few, not few, but with different solution and trying to know the business and line, like the site, what you're doing with different tools, not one GPT. One of the biggest mistake that I see with clients, that when they come to seek help regarding how can I implement GPT, because everyone is talking about it, is first of all, um, multiply by zero your knowledge in GPT and start building from ground up what you want to get from a language model. Okay, something very generic. So yeah, thank you, Sebastiano. It's amazing. I really like it. It's an amazing tool, and I really recommend using it. So, going on, Adil, and of course, Carleta, I will go with your session. We've been waiting. You're both from Microsoft. You're both cloud advocates, and you're going to give us a little bit of vision. I really think that the future with vision goes very like firm. You see what Nvidia is doing. I think the metaverse and everything concerning vision makes a lot of sense in the future. There are a lot of things that have been done. Vision is with us for many years already. I think most of the people right now, the same as GPT, most of the people are familiar with Mid Journey in this capability. So you will introduce us with the world of vision and make a statement that it's not only face recognition and Mid Journey, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Lear. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session. Thank you all so much for still tuning in with us. This is the last session of the SEMA AI show. Very excited to be here today, joined alongside my colleague, Carlotta Castelluccio. So I am based in Dubai. Carlotta is all the way in Italy. And today we are going to be talking to you all about, continuing the series of computer vision and cognitive services, and basically we will take you through how you can empower your application with computer vision. So before we actually begin, just to kind of let you through what we'll be talking about today. Today is going to be kind of lightweight session where we'll go over an overview of the importance of computer vision, and then we're going to talk you through the services in Microsoft Azure. We will kind of describe some announcements that have been made in Microsoft Build 2023, so last month only, where they introduced some new large language models and computer vision. So I think that's something that's very interesting since it's all just brand new. So we're going to be covering that today. And lastly, Carlotta will be sharing a demo on how we can add computer vision capabilities to your application. So let's actually begin. So I would like to begin by asking you a question, and that is, do you know how AI can see the world around us? And do you know how AI can actually generate a picture of a seaside landscape in a photorealistic style? Actually, this all can be done with the use and the power of computer vision and image analysis. And this is basically what we will be doing today. So Computer vision is basically something I'm pretty sure many of you all are familiar with this term since it's been used heavily in the AI world. It is something that is applicable in our day-to-day lives. Wherever you go, wherever you walk, wherever you are, computer vision actually is applicable in your lives, even if you don't realize it. So, computer vision is basically an area of AI in which software systems are designed to perceive the world visually through cameras, images, and video, or even kind of any kind of input devices and such. So the goal of computer vision is basically it takes it has this kind of it generates this huge amount of data from all the cameras, the images, and the videos it has, and based on that, it will kind of take that information, it will process it, analyze it, and based on that, it will kind of give you the results and make recommendations and basically take actions. So kind of like the way AI is all about. It helps us kind of think about how things are. However, with computer vision, you're actually seeing or trying to perceive what the world is all about. That being said, actually, in the AI world, there are many different types of kind of computer vision problems that we can actually solve using, machine learning models and using AI systems and solutions, including cognitive services in Microsoft Azure. So, for example, let's take an example here. So, let's say you want to use the computer vision service to analyze an image. So you have a picture or an image of, let's say, a building that shows New York City, for example, New York City buildings. So with computer vision, it has the ability actually to describe what the image is. It can detect, for example, different objects, so different buildings and different, let's say, streets and people. It can tag any visual features you have. It is able to detect kind of brands, multiple objects, detect faces. Even also, it's able to categorize images based on the specific types. Also, of course, it will be able to detect kind of any image color schemes. So if this image is black and white, or there's this has shades of blue, text extraction, and so much more. All of this now, way before it was not available, we were not able to do that. But of course, due to the power of computer vision and cognitive services, you are able to do all that today and so much more. Now, with computer vision, of course, we have computer vision in Azure. And probably, if you're not familiar, Azure's computer vision service actually is one of the most powerful tools there is out there to help you build and kind of, build your application based on the visual features you're interested in. So it has kind of several categories or services that you can find on the Azure platform for computer vision. So we have optical character recognition, or OCR, image analysis, face detection, and spatial analysis. These are only some services that you can find on the computer vision in Azure kind of platform that will help you basically process images and return information based on the visual features that you're interested in. So let's actually look at the difference between these different four services. Now, the first one is optical character recognition, so also known as OCR. So this is basically when computer vision actually takes an image and extracts the text from it. So if it's handwritten text or such, so for example, let's say you have the National Bank of Toronto and you show your computer vision, you show your computer vision that picture of that, it will be able to detect exactly what that text is, and based and using the Read API to kind of extract the printed and handwritten text from the photos as well as videos. The next service we have is image analysis, and this is actually pretty very common right now. So image analysis, image generation, it's been the talk of the season. It's kind of like the hot topic of AI, of computer vision. It's something, everyone is very interested about. So it's basically where you extract visual features from images, such as objects, kind of faces, colors, and any kind of auto-generated text descriptions. The next service that we have is face detection. So obviously, we're all kind of very familiar with that, and Facebook has been using face detection, to detect whose face this is belonging, specifically to, their features. So with AI, the use of AI and computer vision, now AI is able to detect, recognize, and analyze human faces in images. Lastly, we have spatial analysis, and this is where, let's say you have a video of people walking. So this is where it analyzes the presence and movements of people. So if you have, let's say, a video of like buses in the street that are moving, this is where it will detect that this is, you have buses and you have people that are moving, and it will actually kind of caption each one right there. So this is just kind of a quick overview on the computer vision services we have on Microsoft Azure. Now, recently we've had obviously Microsoft Build 2023 and Microsoft Ignite as well. And this is where this is kind of like the talk of every year where, Microsoft comes up with new announcements and those new exciting features and innovations that are all hot topic. So this year, in Microsoft Build, there has been announced that there are these new large language models in Azure Cognitive Services specifically for vision. So let's actually introduce you to these three kind of Azure Cognitive Services or large models. So in the AI industry, it has kind of moved obviously towards large foundation models. And by now, of course, everyone is talking about ChatGPT. So of course, if you want to do an assignment, your friend is going to be like, hey, let's use ChatGPT. If someone is, if you're trying to search for something, if you are trying to write an essay and such, you can do so much with ChatGPT. So it's kind of like the hot topic. Now, this is actually the first time when Cognitive Services for Vision is launching a large foundational model, and this is called Florence, Project Florence. So what is Project Florence? It's basically a large foundational multi-model trained on massive amounts of data with billions of text and image kind of pairs. So with Project Florence, it basically kind of supports language and vision and kind of enables new tasks in the visionary space. So the other next exciting launch that has been announced at Microsoft Build as well is DALI. So DALI 2 is basically a new AI kind of system from OpenAI as well, and it is kind of like an API that can take basically any kind of simple text descriptions and turn them into kind of images that have never existed before. So let's say you have the text of, let's say, a panda playing basketball, for example. So what DALI will do, it will take this text and it will actually kind of generate it into an image that has never been seen before of a panda playing basketball. So this is basically what it works. It basically creates kind of realistic images, and from that description, it will kind of use natural language. The last kind of feature that has been also launched and talked about, and the last API or language model is GPT-4. Now, GPT-4 is basically the newest version of OpenAI, and it is kind of a type of language model, just like GPT-3 and GPT-3.5, that uses basically deep learning to generate a human-like kind of conversational text. So, for example, with GPT-4, what you can do is, let's say you want to upload a worksheet or a paper, and it will be able to kind of, help you score it and even output responses to the questions that you have. So these are the exciting features that we have for the large language models in Azure Cognitive Services for Vision. Right now, we are going to move on to the demo where Carlotta will actually show us how we can add, we talked all about computer vision, so how we can add all these computer vision capabilities to our application. Carlotta, on to you.
Thank you so much, Hadil. Thank you for your great overview of vision on Azure and computer vision service capabilities. So as you said, let's move from theory to practice with a short demo. And first thing first, because I know we have lots of developers today hearing, and they probably are saying, yeah, these services are great, but how I can include them in my solution, right? So let's try to answer to this question with this demo. And first thing first, I would like to introduce you with the tech stack I will be using for the demo. So I'll show you how to integrate the image analysis service that Hadil described to you, and in particular, the latest version 4 API, which is based on the Project Florence model, and also the OpenAI DALI APIs in a React static web app. And I will also show how this app can be deployed using GitHub Actions. So as prerequisites of this demo, you would need 3 types of Azure resources that are that you can see here in this deck. First of all, a computer vision resource that we need to consume the computer vision service. We need a static web app resource, which is a service that automatically builds and deploys full stack web apps to Azure from a GitHub code repository each time you push commits or you accept pull requests into a branch of your choice. And then we have Azure OpenAI service, so Azure OpenAI resource that we use to invoke Azure OpenAI service for image generation. Now, note that the access to this service is currently limited through an application process, as you might already know, and you can find all the instructions to require access in the GitHub repo README that also hosts the code. So if you navigate at the link in this slide, which is aka.ms/ai-show-cv-demo, you will find the code of this app plus the instructions to require access to the Azure OpenAI service. But also I want to say that if you can't get access to it because you are, for example, an enterprise customer, Azure customer, for the sake of this demo, in which we don't need a production-ready environment with all the security and privacy requirements guaranteed by Azure infrastructure, you can also rely on the OpenAI public endpoint. So you can replicate this demo with a few changes that I will show you using an OpenAI public endpoint. Again, instructions are included in the README file of the repo, so feel free to navigate to the repo after the session. But now let me show you the app directly. So let me jump to the browser, to our web app. So this app provides 3 main functionalities. First of all, it checks if it is able to retrieve the Azure key and endpoint for cognitive services, so either computer vision and Azure OpenAI service. And if it cannot find the credentials of those services, it displays a warning message. So here we don't have any warning message because the key and endpoint has been configured previously. The second feature is that it allows you to analyze an image with cognitive services computer vision, and in particular, as I mentioned before, the image analysis v4 API, by entering here in this input text field a public image URL and then click on the analyze button to analyze the image. And the third feature is that it allows you to generate an image with a DALL-E model by entering in the same input text field a text swap prompt this time and click on the generate button and you can generate an image. But let's start with the image analysis, and let's pretend we want to analyze this image here. So let's copy this URL here and let's paste it here. And then let's click on the Analyze button to launch the image analysis, to call the image analysis v4 API. So the result, as you can see, is the reply of the service into a JSON format. And here you will see the reply for all the visual features that Hadil described to you in the overview. Of course, you can choose a set of them according to the needs of your scenario. But just to give you an overview of what you can do, you have here in the reply the caption, for example. So the service generates a caption of the image in a human readable language using complete sentences, starting from the object identified in the image. So in this case, we have as caption a group of people posing for a photo, which is quite accurate. Then the second feature is about objects detected in the image. And in this case, we only have people. So you see a list of results in which are identified person. And the cool thing is that you also have a bounding box for each person identified in the image. So you can really locate the people or the objects in general in the image. And then you have tags. Sorry, I think I've object results. I think I have read before that. So the read visual feature, it extracts readable text from images And for the ones who are familiar with the read API of the older version of image analysis API, so the version 3.2, you know that you had to do 2 API calls to get optical character recognition results. Now with the image API, image analysis for API, you can have them embedded with all other insights. With that said, of course, in this image, you've seen that you have no text elements, so you don't really have anything listed here. But if you have any text element in the image, you will find them extracted in here. And then we can find the dense caption feature, the dense caption feature. In addition to simple captions, basically dense captioning generates detailed captions for individual objects in the image. And again, the API return also a bounding box. The bounding box coordinates in pixels of each object found in the image. But this time it also add a caption to that bounding box of pixels. For example, here you have a subset, like a crop of the image with a man and a woman with children. In another corner of the image is detected a woman carrying a child on her shoulders, etc., etc. So with this visual feature, you can use, you can generate description of basically separate part of the image. Scrolling down, we can find other visual feature. Let me see here. We have tags. So you might be familiar with tags. It's basically it allows to identify and tag visual features in an image from a set of thousands of recognizable objects, but also living things, scenery, and actions. Here, as an example, you have person, you have human face, you have a smile, you have outdoor. So you can use tags basically to, for example, for image retrieval, you can do a query with the tags you'd like to retrieve. So you can retrieve a set of images that match with the tags you'd like. And then you have the next one should be, if I recall correctly, smart crops. Yes. You have smart crops, which analyzes the content of an image to return the coordinates of the area of interest. So it basically cut an area of interest of the image. And then the last one is people. This is also new for the image analysis API. It detects people appearing in the image. And again, it also returns a bounding box with the coordinates where each person has been identified. So for this image in particular, you can see that the result is quite similar to the objects because we just have people in this image. But if we have also other objects, we would have different results for objects with people, of course. So this is an overview of all the visual features you have for the image analysis API. Now, with this functionality, we basically can convert an image into a textual caption we have seen. Now let's do the other way around. So let's start with a textual prompt and let DALL-E do the rest. So for doing so, for this example, we can use this caption, for example, a group of people posing for a photo. Let's paste it here and let's click on generate. So this time with the generate button, we are calling the OpenAI DALL-E API. So we are asking to the DALL-E model to generate a brand new image from scratch with our, starting from our prompt. And that's the result. You have the image and you also have the URL where the image is hosted. But of course, this prompt was quite generic. Better results can be achieved by fine-tuning the prompt to include further details about what we would like to get as input. For example, let me try another prompt which is more detailed, like this one. A group of people. Sorry, I didn't paste the right one. Give me a second. We are, let's remove this and let's paste this one. Awesome. Let's click on generate. So I will show you the prompt, but the prompt basically this time is a group of people posing for a photo with a seaside landscape on the background, high definition. So since Hadil mentioned the seaside background that was inspired by that. So you see a group of people posing for a photo, and then the seaside landscape on the background. And so you can really design your prompt as you'd like, and the more you can add details also about the style and about what people are doing, for example, in the image, the better the result can align with what you have in mind, of course. Awesome. Now we're told that we want to satisfy developers here, so let me jump into the code for a moment. Because I want to show you how I've included in the app the API calls. So of course, the structure of this Reactor app includes the HTML file, CSS file, and JavaScript assets, which specifies the front-end app features together with the functionality to call on the backend. But for now, I would like to focus on how to integrate the computer vision capabilities in the app. So the functionality which calls specifically the image analysis API is hosted in this file, which is called Azure Cognitive Services computervision.js. And at the top of the JS file, we find the configuration for the key and endpoint of the service, together with the visual features we want to specify when calling the service. Now, key and endpoints are retrieved from the environment variables when running the app locally, while they are retrieved from GitHub repo remote secrets when running the app on the cloud. Then scrolling down, we can find the main function of this file, which is computer vision. So this function performs the following task. It builds the final endpoint, combining the resource custom endpoint here with the basic endpoint of the services, plus the visual features that are added in queue. And then you have, it initializes, of course, the URL of the image we'll be analyzing with computer vision service. And then it adds it in the body of the request in a way that the API, the image analysis API can be called with an HTTP call. Now we have a similar JS file for the OpenAI service. So again, at the top of the file, we configure the key and endpoint for the OpenAI service. And then something I would like to highlight here is that, as I mentioned before, this demo supports both Azure OpenAI endpoint and OpenAI instance. Now, Azure OpenAI Service API and OpenAI API handles the construction of the endpoint and of the authentication header differently. So if you want to switch from one to another, you need to look for the comments like this one, uncomment this line to use, etc. in the code. There are a pair of them in this file. You need to uncomment the code for the service you want to use and comment the code for the other service. Awesome. Now, once we have defined computer vision and image generation functions in those separate files, we need to add those modules to the React app in the app.js file. So if we go into the app.js file, we can find, you can find the import of the computer vision and image generation function. And you can also see that they are called for a type of event is received in the case of computer vision when a file URL is entered, and in the case of image generation when a textual prompt is entered, the image generation function is called. And scrolling down, we also have the display results function, which basically convert the result into a JSON data in a readable format, and it prints out the result. Also, once you have your Azure Static Web App resource linked to your GitHub repository, for example, if you want to replicate this demo, you fork the GitHub repository and you link your Azure Static Web App to your forked GitHub repository. To deploy a new version of the code, you just need to push the code to the remote repository. And this will start, let me see if I can show you. This will basically start a new pipeline that will eventually build and then deploy your app on Azure. So you can see here that For example, the latest job I've run was successful, and it finally deployed my code to an Azure web app, Azure static web app on Azure. Great. And so with that, I know we are on time, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and I want to conclude and give time for a few questions if we can. But before concluding, I just want to share a few useful resources you can check to learn more about computer vision, so cognitive services, but in particular vision. You have, for example, a learning path about creating computer vision solution on Azure. You have the documentation for the image analysis API, where you can find also in particular the details for the image analysis API version 4, which is currently in preview. Let me remind that. And finally, we have the image generation quick start if you want to play a little bit with DALL-E. And with that said, I would like to conclude to thank Adil and everyone. And let's see if we have any questions from anywhere.
Around the world. So I am just adding the learning resources in the chat for people to access the links. We would highly recommend you to check them out and to follow them. Very great resources. Lior, do you have any questions for us?
I'm waiting. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yes, I have two questions for you. First of all, it's amazing. I really love vision. Also, I have a couple of projects in the vision world. Very amazing stuff. And first of all, about custom vision models. This is a question for you, how we deal with custom models, and one regarding the streaming of video and analytics of video from images from video.
Awesome. I can take the custom vision model, if you don't mind, Adil, and then you can jump in, of course. So I think Victor also mentioned something about customization and cognitive services. In particular for computer vision, yes, you have the possibility to customize your model for the image analysis and object detection task. And this is also like a new thing, a new feature for the computer vision service, because before we used to have the custom vision for custom models and the computer vision for just pre-trained model. While now with the image analysis with the preview API, we can also using the UI. So not only with the API, but also with the Computer Vision Studio, you can basically upload your data and customize the model, deploy your customized model into to an endpoint, and then call your customized model. So you can eventually migrate your existing custom vision project to computer vision, since it's now customization is now supported also by computer vision service.
Perfect.
I can take on the second question, Lior. What was it about, the video streams you're asking?
Yes, the question was about image analysis inside of a video stream.
Yes. So right now, actually, we have this feature available. So it is possible to actually analyze and process video streams in addition to images using the service that I talked about briefly, which is spatial analysis. And this service actually can do many things, multiple things, such as, like count the number of people entering a space, or even, let's say, it can measure the compliance with face masks and even social distancing guidelines by processing video streaming. So yes, we do have that option actually available thanks to the different service called spatial analysis.
Perfect. One note that I had from a use case I had with vision, I can share with.
Yes.
When you use models of image analytics, one of the things that you need to encounter in some of the use cases when you put things in production is the option that things will not go the way you planned on what you get in the background. One of the good use cases that I know of is a customer that tried face recognition on entrance to a company, and the problem is that he after a few months of usage, he got like exponentially growth on the price that he paid on the model. And the reason for that was very interesting. Someone put a billboard with a face just on the background on the camera, that taking picture of the people entering the building. So the face was always being scanned for face recognition, and the bill was very high. So just a note that usage of AI doesn't mean that like everything is a magic. You still need to use you need to know the limitation of the tools. Know some things will not go the way you plan when you go on mass production, but the tools themselves are very, very good. I grew up with the models from their first version, and the version 3 and version 4 right now, and all the previews that we have in our MVPs. But it's amazing the growth that we get from those simply made SaaS version of this vision models. Very interesting. Thank you very much. Okay, so I
Yeah,
think we
thank you for
conclude.
sharing your nice story.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, a true story. Thank you very much for everyone. We will conclude our session by that. Thank you for all the presenters. It was very interesting, very insightful. And see you soon on the next session. So the AI show will continue, and it goes every month. But again, the progress is probably every hour. So stay tuned. Thank you very much for everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you.